last week. I didn't have any more updates, I don't think, but I had the blue screen of death today, so we'll find out. Hey everyone, welcome to SEO UnMasked, episode number 36, I believe. Today is May 31st, 2018. Thanks for tuning in. Hope everyone survived the heat wave. I guess maybe it was just here in the Midwest, but yeah, it was hot. I'm Garrett Groff.
I'm Vin Deletto.
And I think Vin's doing the tired role today, so I'm just normal Steve today. Vin's tired Vin.
Yeah, I've got some allergies and a headache.
Yeah,
generally not in a good mood. It's alright though. We'll get through it.
For sure. You guys got any cool news before we get going?
I put all my cute, cool news on the list.
Yeah, just some random bullshit, eh?
Well, I'm on the search engine roundtable list of people that Barry couldn't get hold of to interview for the search his search community honors you thing. So thanks Barry. I'm hoping that page ranks for my name because the fake Steve Brownlee just got married and he's famous enough to get a New York Times article about his marriage. So I'm kind of fighting an uphill battle on the I want my name for the whole of the first page battle. Mm-hmm. I've now attempted, like, there's going to be 47 SEOs with an article on the first page, like about the other Steve Brownlee now, just to teach me a lesson. But yeah, like be famous enough to get married and get covered by the New York Times, and you'll do really well with your reputation management.
I would think so.
We both of our companies got mentioned over Empire Flippers this week. That was pretty cool. Really nice of them.
Yeah, they named us as their preferred providers in a couple of categories. So thank you, Empire Flippers. That was super awesome. For those of you who don't know, they're one of the. There's probably 3 legit players in the site brokering space that are decently big, and they're one of the big 3. So
yeah, at least with the in the affiliate space.
Yeah, with the kind of sites that most of our viewers probably are building for themselves on the side, or that's their main project. There's three main people, and they're one of the big 3. So definitely have them on your list if you've got a site to sell. Yeah. But I've never sold a site, so this wasn't like a biased mention or something. It's just from what I hear from my many customers, they've placed quite a few pretty decent deals for people I know. So
yeah, and they're getting bigger too. Their average site sale has been increasing big time over the past year. So they're becoming a legitimate contender with some of the bigger houses out there.
Yeah. Our case study site that we've been talking about for 6 months or so now, it's finally sticking for keywords. Or I mean, it has been slowly, but now it's kind of actually gaining keywords at a reasonable velocity. So, we've built, I don't know, like 40 links at it, and the link baits are.
Well, it was like 25 or something.
It's like 40 now, but the
really
link baits are starting to rank for a lot of cool stuff, and then. Some of the product pages finally stuck in like the top 10 to 15, or like page 2. So I think once we get around to actually writing some good copy for the sales pages and stuff for the home page. I
just outlined your content for.
Oh, cool.
So you're gonna have that back by next week.
Yeah, I would definitely think I have it up in Ahrefs right now, just looking at stuff that it's stuck for, and we're seeing like big movements. Like stuff was 60, now it's 20, and. Moving in the right direction, albeit really slowly. I think we got the link power there. Vin's going to provide some really good copy, and
it's going to be interesting because it's a really cool demonstration for Vin that the random words that we posted up that we didn't even read from one of our team. Mm-hmm. If Vin's pages go up and everything's #1, he'd be like, "See, I'm not expensive. I'm just awesome."
The pressure's on now, man. The pressure's on.
Well, it can't be any worse than the stuff we put up there. It was written in half a day by someone. So yeah. It's pretty.
Actually, I got some good news from your guys' work for my dental client that you work on.
Oh, okay.
We popped into top 50 for some crazy short tail terms like dental Medicare and cavities. The word cavities were top 50. So
and they're just like a local client, so like they're not even trying to.
Yeah, that's definitely a small local practice. They have like 5 chairs in the office, and they're top 50 in the country for the word cavities. So I definitely attribute that to creators' powerful links.
I was wrong about the candle site. We built about 25. Steve was right. No, not 40.
Get your shit together.
Yeah.
Me and you are sick this week. What the fuck?
Yeah, fucking allergies. What the fuck do you do? I don't know. I've been thinking about getting those allergy shots, but
No way. I have to stay away from the doctor as much as possible.
yeah.
Probably die really young.
Yeah.
Hey guys, I'm just on the phone while my computer recovers from. I'm on Linux, and Garrett's jinxed me. I had a complete. It literally just completely froze up.
You now look like every dad's Facebook profile picture. The very close up of the face.
Is that better?
There you go.
Yeah, we probably have some competitor hacking us now and taking us out.
Yeah, we keep getting all this great coverage. But like I was just saying, Ben, that was just like a local client. They weren't trying to rank for those national terms. It's just happening now.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So, and they're also dominating for all their local terms, and they're now starting to creep up for local terms of surrounding cities too. And those are cities that we're not even really targeting. So all good stuff.
That's pretty cool. I'm
Yeah,
glad to hear.
Well,
What's a bit curious though is they're really fighting 2 main pages. One is Yelp, and it's a Yelp listing that they actually exist on, so I don't really care about that. But the other is another practice in the area. And what's curious is that practice, the website has less age than my site, and it's only got 16 links and really shit content. And that site's ranking like #1 for all the local terms. So I'm not quite sure.
you could be using cloak or like hidden PBNs and stuff. You know.
It looks like they're using a lot of like review widgets, like Yelp's widget and maybe a Facebook widget or something like that. So
I mean, I've seen that before, where someone had a lot of reviews, and they seems to make quite a big difference.
Yeah.
Well, cool sculpting your link juice is what makes a big difference these days, and it's something that's not often talked about. But
good one, buddy. Good one. You win the week.
Garrett always wins this thing. Like, even doing it in his intro, he still beats us.
Yeah, thanks to Jason for the
yeah, thanks
word
for
of the
watching.
day.
As well.
Yeah, word of the day.
He's one of our premium viewers from the early days of the show when we didn't even have a running schedule. We just kind of came on for an hour and talked about it.
Oh, I guess the only last piece of news I have, I'm very happy with our skincare site. I mean, it's not, I think we got close to 2,000 hits a month, so, it's not crazy. But for a little amount of work we put into it and just uploading a couple of small articles a week and minimal links to it, it's still on.
Yeah, including our team's time, it's under 1 hour's work a month, probably.
You know what?
Scarrett probably does an hour, so maybe it's 2.5 hours a month, something like that.
Nice. So are you converting anything yet, or on
No.
2,000? What can you expect? Like 10 conversions a month?
Yeah, I got someone from California that keeps raping my phone.
I don't know if I mentioned last week, but I was doing those content updates, the fresh content updates, and that's just been killing it for my site. It literally takes like 2 or 3 days, and I'm jumping like 10 spots. So like.
Oh yeah, so actually I was going to mention, kind of related to that. Going back through the skincare site now, I'm adding some structured markup and some schema, and I noticed in schema you can put the date the article was published, obviously. And then in the schema, it can automatically pull from WordPress for you, this plugin I'm using, the last day it was updated. And before, I'm going to do just a little test seeing if I leave the date on the article that you read, the exact date it was published, but I go in and change a little bit of stuff and don't change any date on the article, but the schema is going to say it was updated, 6 months later. I want to see if that schema signal saying this has been updated is enough for like when it gets recrawled. If it reads the schema and sees that something actually has been changed, if we see any bumps to that. And I guess
there was an article that came out this week actually, and it was basically titled "How to Figure Out Where Google Pulls Your Post Date From." And I gotta look for it. Maybe I'll bring it up for next week. But
yeah, that'd be cool because I'm curious about that.
Yeah. But yeah, apparently if you just follow that and you change the post date according to that article, you should be all good.
Garrett's going to be giving our buddy Zach a run for his money on his schema expertise soon. He's becoming a schema nerd. I don't think we'll catch up on the cryptocurrencies, though. I still have a very minimal investment in the crypto space. I still have the feeling I missed the boat, so like my investment will stay minimal, and I'll just
it's been a long time since I messed with it, and I've been at least like 4 years, and that's when people started talking about it properly. But for the skin site, we have a lot of keywords that rank #1 organically, but there is the featured snippet first, and then there's the Q&A and 4 questions, and we need to be popping up into there. So I'm working on getting that rolled in. So
we need to do what Vin manages to pull off on all of his sites, dominate that position 0.
Yeah.
I don't think I have any snippets yet on the site I'm working on now, but
it's pretty new though.
Yeah, pretty new.
It's doing pretty well for its age, though, right? I mean, it seems to always be up.
I think once the current batch of links that you're doing comes in, I think that's going to be the kicker for us. But we'll see.
Yeah, should be good.
Oh, we'll have them with you soon, man. A couple of days now, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, it usually takes like 30 to 60 days to see the results, but
speaking of numbers of links and stuff, I've got a guest post coming out on brandbuilders.io on Monday, talking about, because it's a question we've started getting a lot more since we've become more known. Like we started appearing on lists and people have started mentioning us in public and stuff. We get a lot more inexperienced marketers coming to us, and they're like, how many links do I need? Can I buy 5 and I'll test and see what happens? And the problem is, of course, your competitors are still moving. So you buy 5, wait 6 months. Even a competitor building 1 a month is 1 ahead of you in 6 months' time. So I'm just going through like properly how when you start a campaign, it's kind of like what Vin talked about on his 24 hours of SEO feature. It's like how you work out what you need to do to make a piece of content that's actually going to win. I'm just going through like how you actually look at your competitors and figure out how far behind am I if I want to attack these particular keywords, and I kind of walk you through that step by step. And I can thank Garrett for the inspiration, because back when we had an agency, he did that for all of our client pitches to tell them, we haven't just plucked this number out of thin air. This is why you need this number of links over the year, otherwise you're just going to be further behind. So I've just kind of written that out in a way that's going to help any of you that are starting a new site or you're taking on a new client, how you actually take a sit down and figure out how many links a month do I need. It's not like just, we'll do 10 a month, because that's where Reach Creator does their first price break, or we'll do 20 because there's an even bigger discount. So you can work out, exactly 16 is what we need, and I walk you through that kind of process. So let's keep an eye out on brandbuilders.io on Monday. That's coming up there, so that'll be pretty cool. I don't write enough of these, so on the rare occasions I do write one, I'd super love you all to check it out.
I'm actually doing one for Andrew also. I'm writing it this weekend. It's going to be the topic is basically going to be how to repurpose your text content into other mediums to tap into other traffic sources. So that will be coming out in a week or two on the same blog. I asked him if he wanted to come on to the show, but he says he's a behind the scenes guy. He doesn't want to be on video.
Well, I wasn't even outing his name, so
Oh yeah,
you've done more than me.
no, he's got his picture on the About Us page.
I'm only joking.
Yeah, I wouldn't out anybody that didn't want to be outed.
No.
Anyways.
It's a pretty good. From what he's saying, they're really looking at livening up their blog. So aside from the excitement of having me and Vin on there's going to be a lot of legit posts from legit people as well. A lot of cool stuff coming. So it's going to be quite a lively blog to check out. And I'm sure we'll be sharing some of the links from there and upcoming shows, some other authors and stuff.
Yeah. And if you didn't know, Brand Builders is a service that does made-for-you affiliate sites. So if you don't want to dick around with setting up WordPress, picking a theme, all that kind of stuff, Brand Builders.
Even deciding what your niche is.
Yep, they'll even do niche selection.
They'll make all the decisions for you.
So we help them out sometimes when they're a little busy, and they're good guys. They know what they're doing. Cool. You want to jump into our articles here?
Yeah, so first up, the infamous Rand Fishkin and Spark Toro.
Spark, it's such a good name.
It seems we have turned.
I'm just gutted that's taken now. I mean, don't you want to rename it to Spark Toro Content, Vin?
Oh, God. No.
It seems he has just turned the homepage of Spark Toro into inbound.org.
Yeah, so what's happened is instead of building Spark Toro, they've made something else instead. So I mean, I guess this is just part of his departure from Moz shenanigans. Like we covered last week, the blog being moved. It seems like inbound.org has also been moved to Spark Toro because that got shut down. Obviously, he was one of the co-founders, and now miraculously, the first thing that they bother to build is Spark Toro Trending, which is just inbound.org, but the votes are on Twitter instead of on the platform.
Yeah, and didn't we talk about a couple of shows ago that HubSpot purchased what's it called, Growthy or something like that? It's the same exact thing, but it's HubSpot's version.
Yeah. HubSpot's going to launch something soon. I mean, I guess like things haven't gone as smoothly in the alignment of Rand's vision and HubSpot's over recent times. So I guess there's going to be two competing inbound.orgs. One that Spark Toro has quickly rushed out before HubSpot had a chance to replace inbound.
Yeah.
It was really, I don't know if we had the picture in the comments, but I took a quick snapshot, and obviously, being the fair and balanced news source that it is, 3 of the articles on the homepage were Spark Toro related. I mean, it's the homepage of marketing news on the internet, and an unfinished product by a multiple failing businessman is clearly the it's what everyone's talking about, right?
You're going in hard on him today, buddy.
Oh, come on. I mean, it's the front page of the web marketing world, and Spark Toro is number 1. It's like no one else in web marketing other than your buddies is talking about it. So if you're going to make a new product, at least make it so that someone like myself who's coming to it, because I checked it out, I was like, oh, that might be cool, because inbound was cool when it first launched before just really dumb people posting about Web 2.0 links and comments and stuff ruined it. I thought, yeah, that might be cool to just have a news one again. And then I go on it, and it's all just the same shit that you knew it was going to be there, but you had hope that maybe this time you would do something right. But sorry, Rand, you let me down again. You're a disappointment. Here, of course, it's the algorithm. It just happens that everyone he's picked to be included in the algorithm was talking about Spark Toro. And when you saw the tweets, I looked at the tweets that were presumably influencing this ranking. All of his buddies that he'd given beta access to, which I'm presuming are like all people that the Spark Toro algorithm counts, all tweeted out an identical plus or minus a few words changed tweet saying, I was lucky enough to have beta access to this. Check out this link to Spark Toro. And of course that link's number 1 on Spark Toro. It's like you're botting and voting ringing your own platform. There's levels of pathetic. I think when you bot ring and vote rig your own platform because you weren't interesting enough to make the front page otherwise is kind of pretty funny. But I don't think this is going to be my vote on this is going to be that HubSpot's version is going to be better. So I would wait for the new growth news platform from HubSpot, and I imagine it's going to have better news. And I don't even like HubSpot. You guys know it pains me to vote for HubSpot in a head-to-head battle against anyone, but I think this is a head-to-head. I can see myself spending more time checking out news articles on HubSpot's new version than this by a long way.
Yeah. Well, we'll see how it is when it comes out finally.
So this is how you start a new business. You spitefully steal all the link bait and good assets that your old business was using and put them on your new business. It's a little tip for all of you. I'm sure he covers that in detail in his book. I'm sure his manipulative. That's why it makes me laugh when these guys really rail on people like Russell Brunson. Like, he literally has written a book explaining how he not rips people off, how he plays the game. And if you read his book, you know exactly what he's doing to you, and you still buy his stuff. So you can't really say he's done anything dishonest. Like, he's 100% upfront. This is what I do. This is how I do it. Mm-hmm. Now you've read this thing about this. Would you like to buy some more of it? Whereas, you got these guys pretending to be these elite white hat legit, and then they do this. Mm-hmm. It's like, come on.
Right.
Oh yeah. And what about this logo, guys?
Who?
The Spark Toro logo.
Oh. Yeah, I was gonna say the layout of the site reminds me of something that came out in like the mid 2000s, and it kind of has this like half-assed nostalgic feel to it, but at the same time, it's
the weird zigzaggy line that kind of overlaps the header. That was all kind of the rage on like travel sites and like like the kind of friendly feel travel blog. There'd be like a boat not quite lined up top and all this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And like the fire for if that had just been a flaming logo, he would have achieved the full IBM advert from the 80s joke. Where's his flaming logo for trending? I mean,
I don't know, man. I don't know.
Science let him know. Oh man, I love the building. It's like, yeah, we've got this amazing technique to analyze influencers, but it's totally coming in like a couple of years. Like,
did we make sure we're not looping this week?
I didn't make sure. Let's take a look.
That'll be another nice 20 minutes of.
We've had a really good start to the show as well.
Yeah.
Are we good?
Sounds like we're good.
Okay. Excellent.
Well, we're on with it. Next up, Steve found a cool discussion from Yoast over at Yoast, the SEO plugin that's super popular, and he brought up some interesting things about crawling, where the amount of resources that we pay for, it doesn't impact us as much as big sites, but when Googlebot's crawling you in combination with Bing and any other search engine, and then all the SEO tools that are crawling your site every day, and then Yoast was saying his AMP version of his site gets crawled every 5 to 10 minutes by Googlebot. How many server resources does that take? How much electricity and computing power is wasted? And I think there's a number in there where so the 10,000 views a month, depending on how accurate this Forbes article is, from the crawlers, is the equivalent of the energy of a car driving 5,000 miles. And I don't know what car, how accurate that is. But either way, even that's I had never really thought about that. That's actually a considerable amount of energy being used just to keep up the indexes against all these tools and the search engines themselves.
He also pointed out that Bing specifically is crawling all kinds of 404 pages too. So it's like it's not only server intensive, it's just useless on top of it. So
Yeah, and we spoke before about how Bing's biggest disadvantage is that they don't have as much data as Google. They're not doing themselves any favors burning what limited resources they've got, crawling 404 pages and stuff like that. But the interesting thing to me was all of the crawlers are ignoring the I can't remember which HTTP status code it is. Is it 306 where you say the page hasn't been updated, so you let a browser know they can just use the cached version. They're all ignoring it and crawling the page again, even though the server's telling them this hasn't changed since last time you were here 10 seconds ago. They're not believing it and crawling it again anyway, which I can kind of understand from Googlebot's perspective, but if they weren't crawling it every 10 seconds, I guess.
Dennis go to Burrs saying back when his eBay days, I don't know how long ago this was, but there was a product page with 3 items on it that was getting crawled 17,000 times a day by Googlebot alone.
That's insane.
So that's what, 7,500 miles of driving.
Supposedly.
Well, it's probably close. I mean, because cars don't, like, you think how much gas you use for that. It's not really that much power. It seems a little bit high though, but I would bet it's some kind of big number. Like even if it's just 1,000 miles equivalent on a more efficient car than whatever Forbes used as the analysis, it's still a pretty absurd that they're unnecessarily. I mean, do you think it's not just 10,000? How many unnecessary crawls are these scrapers doing? Right. Millions and millions a day. So it's not just 10,000. It's like you could drive around the world a few times every day, even if the figure's off by a factor of 100.
Yeah, and I saw him mention something called Common Crawl, which I haven't heard of until now. And it seems like the idea is you start making flags, like you don't get crawled until you tell whatever Common Crawl is that, oh, we've actually made a change, and now you should come crawl us and see what we're doing. And I don't know, I can see that being good or bad. But
that sounds very tedious.
Yeah.
Well, it would just be built into WordPress or whatever.
Yeah.
Like you would just, you would manually crawl sites that weren't included in Common Crawl the way you do now, and sites that were set up for Common Crawl, you would crawl using the new tool. It was something that would improve things for a segment of the web that was included and taken part. Like you want to say, like you're a massive site, you don't want to be crawled by Googlebot every 4 seconds. And if they honored or used Common Crawl, I guess that would be quite a big help to you.
It definitely sounds like something that needs more attention.
And like the guy points out, like even if your cost is tiny, the only crawler that you actually make your money back from is Google, because they actually send you traffic. Like Ahrefs, Majestic, Moz, all these data providers, they're just stealing your data and making money from it themselves, but they never give you anything.
You pay them.
Right.
Yeah, you're effectively paying for an unwanted inclusion on.
I mean, you can block them, but then
I don't know how.
Then you have to write your own fucking tool.
Sorry, Vin, go on.
Did you say that you're paying for an unwanted inclusion in the search engine?
No, in Ahrefs, Moz.
I mean, you can always block those bots too, right?
Yeah. I mean, I guess some big sites
but
do.
If you block them, then you got to make your own tool, which, other than some really huge sites that probably do it, no one else is going to make their own tool comparable to Ahrefs or Moz, no matter how good we thought we were. We don't have the budget to do that.
And then you get to be chastised by their support staff when you ask innocent questions.
Right, yeah.
Oh, have you seen? I figured it all out now, though. I saw Tim Sulo's social media picture. Like we wondered why he was being such a dick to everyone. He thinks he's a fighter. He's there, like his social media. I was like, Jesus, man. Like, I don't know. I want to see you get in there with Deontay Wilder and see how it goes.
He still doesn't get why everyone was so angry. It's like, not necessarily angry, like we're upset about the domain rating change, but the fact is, there's some of us that spend a considerable amount of money with you. We don't spend a lot anymore, but I know there's people spending thousands and thousands of dollars a month with Ahrefs just doing link building, and it's like, I know with certain companies, they sell purely on metrics, and if you change that scale with a 3-day notice, I mean, we could have been fucked. We talked about it.
Yeah.
And for Tim just to be so arrogant is just disgusting.
Well, my guess is that their internal data shows that guys like us aren't a big part of their user base, or at least they're not targeting guys like us. So it's more like, hey, fuck you, we'll deal with you.
Well, I guess what it is though is anyone using them is only based on their metrics being the biggest metrics. Like that's why Moz has survived. Is because DA was so big. Everyone needs to know what their DA is. Like all the enterprise users, because it's big in the industry, it's a metric that everyone uses. And obviously, Sarah Bird's doing a great job actually making sure they have an index and useful data now compared with before. But if someone, like they've definitely damaged the worth of domain rating. Like, do you know, like how many people would have spoken to us about Moz before they made that change? No one.
No.
I haven't had one single person ask for domain rating based links since. We get Moz and Majestic now is all anyone's asking for.
I talk to people too. People are kind of upset that during that whole turmoil, Tim was asking, okay, show me sites that you think are being valued unfairly. And they would go in and make manual adjustments to what they would deem fair because their algorithm was incorrect. And it's like, how many sites did you make manual adjustments to? How many of those were actually merited? What if I just said, my site's DR 20 now all of a sudden, it should really be like 35. And that's a pretty big bump in the news scale. It's like...
It would be right in this part of your sentence where he would start laughing in your face.
Right.
And start paying attention to somebody else.
Well, he'd have those jukes up ready for a duel. He'd have his white glove.
Well, it's like I tried explaining my point to him. I'm like, you have a lot of people that rely on your data, and like Steve said, maybe we're not their target customer anymore. But it's like, could have wiped out a lot of people with that scale change, and to give 3 days notice, like it was legit. In 3 days, we're changing our scale. What are you supposed to do with that? Like, it's just, especially when there's people paying thousands of dollars a month just for that data. You're buying that data. It's like, it's just kind of like a courtesy. If you'd given a month's head up, at least. So I don't know.
Well, look at how Sarah Bird handled it over at Moz. They rolled out a complete parallel index, so they closed Open Site Explorer down. They brought out the new Explorer. I forget what they call it, but basically DA went from being based on a 1/20 of the data that Ahrefs had to about the same. They say more, so maybe more. But the DA metrics it's spewing off are within a point or two for most sites of what it was before. So sites that had some kind of decent indexing before are about the same DA they were before. Now, it has hit us again. It was really super fun to have two metrics change on us in the space of 3 months. But it's so close with Moz. Like, they made such a huge change, but they made it seamless so that people who'd become accustomed to what DA 37 was, it's about the same now, even though they have 20 times as much data now as they had before into their system. Like, they made it just so seamless for their users, whereas Ahrefs didn't even improve their data much. I think Garrett actually called it before the Moz update on the show. I forget which episode, but I'm sure you'll be able to find it if you wanted. But he called that there must be something going on behind the scenes that they're scared of for them to have made this change. Completely pointless, just rescaling, make it seem like something new is going on. And then 2 months later, Moz bring out a bigger index than them. Right. So they've made a change for PR purposes that's backfired because they knew Moz was about to trump them on the size of their data. And I think they're on the back foot now because they've damaged their brand and they no longer have the biggest index. They have a better tool than Moz still, I would say, for sure. The rank tracking, the reporting, everything is just so far ahead of Moz. But Moz has closed one of the gaps. But Ahrefs let everyone on always. They were ahead of Majestic, they were ahead of Moz. Their index was the biggest and the best. Moz has closed one of the gaps. The keyword explorers, people argue in the SEO industry which one of the two is best. So maybe Ahrefs, just because I like it, maybe it isn't ahead of Moz's one. Maybe it's 50-50 depending on how you use it. So maybe that's another area where they're neck and neck. So then it's rank tracking and the reporting, which Moz is just behind on. I mean, that's a much smaller gap to close than they had to close a year ago.
Well, I'll tell you that Ahrefs rank tracking is garbage. I mean, it's never accurate. It's never ever accurate.
What's that, sorry?
What's that?
Say again.
You don't like
Ahrefs, their rank track. Well, I don't use the actual rank tracking tool. I typically just
when it finds the organic
plug in a
keywords.
page in and see what keywords are ranked.
Yeah, but what do you expect for instant crawl based? You know, like it's like you put take SERP, you want to analyze a new vertical, you have to wait till tomorrow to get your data. Like this is their most up to date data for every keyword and every site on the internet.
Right.
So
that's a whole different problem they're trying to solve with that. It's
I guess with SERPU and Ahrefs seems to find stuff a lot faster, but I'm just going to guess that's because they're seeing such a huge exposure in different SERPs, so they're always going to have stuff faster. But SERPU definitely, once it picks something up, the data you're getting out of SERPU is much more valuable.
Yeah,
that's my next purchase. I don't know why I haven't signed up for it yet. I just haven't.
You'll love it once you have it, because you'll see like a new competitor launches that you wouldn't have noticed for a year.
Right.
You see them on day one on SERP. I mean, I don't use it as much as we should. I'm trying to sign in like once every.
I have to get up.
I'm trying to sign in weekly now. Because it's so valuable, but it's hard to. There's so much information. It's hard to kind of because you know you're going to be on there for an hour when you sign in.
Right.
You'll spot. Yeah. You have to be like, all right, I'm going to lose an hour, but I'm going in once a week. So.
How many keywords can it track for a single campaign?
Everything's unlimited, but obviously you pay more the more you want. So like we're on kind of a legacy deal, because I was not one of the very first people on Builder Society. I was on probably the second or third tranche of people. So I have a package that doesn't exist anymore, but I have more than enough keywords for what we use it for. What we try and do is use SERPWoo, because if you just dump all the keywords you're trying to rank for on SERPWoo, it's just pointless. We try and put in stuff that's of particular interest to us at the time, because then we're getting that deep data on the kind of main keywords, or the just long tail junk. You know, like Ahrefs will tell us that we rank for some weird thing about.
Right. So the main target keywords for individual pages is what you're.
Yeah, and then you see all the competitors, and it's really about. I mean, it's an online reputation management tool primarily, I would say.
Mm-hmm.
But it's super powerful for analyzing a whole niche as well. So it's a different purpose than just a rank tracker. Like, it's not a bulk rank tracking tool.
Well, I know that Carter and JB
they have a bulk, you know.
I know that they pushed the feature that you can see big dips and drops and ranking increases across the whole niche.
Oh, and it's all color coded, so you can. I mean, I've actually got SERPWoo up at the minute because I was looking at just one of our reputation management campaigns, and you can see in color coded like your greens and reds all moving around in zigzags over the last. It's from 18th of. I guess you can change the dates probably. I only look at a couple.
My question to you is: when you see that, are you able to kind of reverse engineer what happened and cause those ranking changes, so you can?
Yeah. The other Steve Brownlee got married, and the New York Times covered it. Yeah. Of course you can. I mean, you can't always, because Google's a bit of a black box, but you can see a new competitor and you can deduce things like, oh, this guy has started just since these rankings started improving, he's getting sites that just have, trust flow with this particular category.
Gotcha.
And like he's obviously like really hammering that, and it seems to be working in this niche. Or he's added. You go to look at his site, and you're like, oh, he or she's added 10,000 pages. Like. It gives you a warning, and then it's down to you to figure out what's going on, just like it would be normally. But you get the warning so much sooner because you see someone, because you can look at the whole top 100 for a keyword and it tracks it constantly, all the movements.
Mm-hmm.
You see someone popping in at 19th that was 64th 2 weeks ago.
Right.
You start, you wouldn't have noticed that site until she was like overtaking you or something,
Right.
You pick them much earlier, like, oh, okay. Business is about to pick up in that keyword. Work.
That's really cool.
And so for you, that might mean that you've got a bunch of keywords that are safe, and you're obviously, as your site gets bigger, you're going to be more and more limited on how many of these pages you can refresh and update.
Right.
Once that you see a lot of up movement and threat, you might move them further up the refresh pile. So
it helps prioritize your projects and what you're working on at any given point. Yeah, that'll be my next toy I tinker with.
Yeah, it's super cool. I really love SERPwoo. I mean, as we get more serious with building our own sites, we're going to obviously have to upgrade to one of the more. The really cool thing with them is, though, they honor legacy bonuses and discounts. So if you sign up now, they do a couple of bonus promotions. You put the code in, and you accumulate all these benefits the longer you're with them. When we upgrade, we get the bonuses on the next tier.
Cool.
So with a lot of companies, the upgrade's just not worth it because you end up paying 4 times as much for double the stuff.
Yeah.
Honoring the amount of bonuses you've accumulated and the value that you were getting on your legacy package. So upgrading is actually appealing. So as we get more serious with building our own sites, you can tell we're putting in like 6 hours a month at the minute to our own sites.
That's kind of why I don't upgrade SERPstat, because I got SERPstat through AppSumo for like $40. They gave me
AppSumo, yeah.
They gave me the lowest tier for $40 lifetime, which is there's a value there. But what I really want is in their top tier, and it's like the top tier is like $400 or maybe $300 a month, and it's just not worth it to me. And I don't get any, like you said, any legacy discount if I wanted to upgrade.
The only thing I really like, Garrett hated SERPstat, but because we only paid $50 for it and it was lifetime, I didn't want to ask for a refund, so we've just kept it.
Yeah.
What I do like about it is when you run out of your queries on Ahrefs for the day, you can just use SERPstat instead, and it gives you the competitors and the rankings.
Right.
And like Vin said, it's similarly accurate stroke inaccurate depending on your opinion of their scrapers. The one thing SERPstat does better is the traffic data for sites. Their estimates are much closer.
Yeah, I did find that
closer. Like on Ahrefs, you see sites where they're estimating the traffic at like 1,000. SERPstat's estimating 100,000 or something, and the reality is 300,000. Like they're both way off, but SERPstat's within an order of magnitude, whereas Ahrefs is 2 full orders of magnitude out. It's like
right.
And that's not across the board. I mean, Ahrefs is but I think they're all way too low. SERPstat seems to be closer for most of the ones I've looked at, like estimates of traffic and stuff, which is pretty cool if you're doing competitor stuff. I mean, I think for $50 lifetime, when you're paying a lot more, paying 3 times that a month currently for Ahrefs on the first usable package, because their basic package is unusable now. We're lucky enough to have my accounts on the legacy package. So, but yeah, for lifetime, grab it just because they add stuff to it all the time. I mean, compared with when Vin bought it, it's got loads more stuff now.
Yeah. Right now, I'm using Ahrefs. I use Keyword Keg, which I like a lot, and SERPstat in a distant third. But I have a feeling I'll just be on Ahrefs and SERPwoo very shortly.
Yeah, SERPwoo is fantastic.
Cool. So whose article is this chatbot piece?
Yeah, I found this one. So, there's all this hype in marketing around chatbots, and we've been through it before with Google Glass and voice search, and everyone's just getting super excited about all these kind of weird things. And it was just kind of fun to see some real live chatbots that people have spent like $100,000 on or more in some of these brands' cases. Some of them have probably spent $1 million, and they're just hilariously bad. So this is my hilariously bad marketing fail link of the week.
The first one resonates with me the most, where it says, please select an option above, and then you type, let me see the main menu. Please select an option above. Then he types, see original options. It just reminds me of dealing with like a telemarketer on the phone or an automated, phone system.
I mean, some of these I would
press 0.
Yeah, exactly.
Some of these I would bet Google would handle better. Like here's a weather one. Hi Fabricio, how are you today? I hope it's sunny where you're at. Would you like me to look up the weather forecast for your suburb? And the person types in, what will the weather be like in New York Thursday to Saturday? I mean, I don't know. Let's see how Google gets on. There's this chatbot says, I'm sorry, I'm not sure what you meant. So let's try Google. Weather, New York, Thursday to Saturday. Who knows what Google's going to produce? Oh, yeah. Google. Well, I guess today's Thursday, so let's try a different day. Saturday to Wednesday. Yeah, Google just brings up their like weekly weather forecast.
Yeah.
But it does tell me the weather, which is more than this chatbot does. So Google wins, but I'm disappointed Google can't do that. When you put days in, you'd think they would update the widget to show the right days.
I usually end up just doing exactly what you just did, and then to get like a quick overview, and then I have to kind of like dig into one of the search results to get the hourly forecast, which Google doesn't really do too well.
Pretty rainy this week in New York, apparently.
Yeah, tell me about it.
NOAA.gov. That's all you need for weather.
There you go.
Cool.
In the UK, the shipping forecast, they're the only ones that are somewhat accurate.
Yeah.
Apparently boats need accurate weather to stuff.
You don't say.
Apparently.
Well, that's what NOAA is. It's the
Oh, really?
National Oceanic Administrative something or another.
Oh, there we go. I didn't know. Same thing over here then.
Yeah.
So apparently some guy...
There's a dad joke bot, since I already did like dad joke use of my phone to call back in. There's a dad joke bot if you want it as well.
That's my primary sense of humor, so I gotta check that one out.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, like, I think this will give us the answer right now. Out of the three of us, how many of us actually have, found any chatbot useful ever?
Never.
The only one I can think of off the top of my head is the one that TD Ameritrade has. Even a decade ago was pretty decent, but you can tell they invested some serious time and money into it.
Yeah, and I'm not talking live chat. I'm talking...
Chatbot where it's like actually helpful, where you can like ask it a question and it can...
Yeah.
That's like the only one, but you can tell that they've stuck some serious fucking money into it.
The ones that I find most helpful are the ones that just kind of take your message, pick out the keywords, and then serve you knowledge-based articles based on your question. That's usually...
I tell you the ones that were actually most useful going like just thinking really seriously far back. Remember the IRC?
Yeah.
And they would build IRC bots for a specific purpose for the channels, and you gave them commands. Like Slackbot doesn't talk to you, but it's a million times more useful than, and that's just the modern day IRC bot. So a bot that has a command structure that you can learn and just tell it what to do, and it gives you useful stuff back, is much better than any bot that pretends it's going to understand whatever conversational input you give it, because we're a long way from machine learning and AI that can do that yet. And so everything short of that, though, is like a half-baked. Why isn't it remember those old text-based computer games, like, you're like, pick up banana, and it's like, I don't know how to do that. And you're like, you're a human being in this game, how can I not pick up a banana? It's like, the frustration of talking to them reminds me of that. So, like,
you guys
is that your
yeah, I'll mute myself for a little bit. Jesus Christ.
Nick has a little Slack bot named Traffic Think Tank that's pretty cool, and they're using it in an interesting way, just to kind of send out surveys, to kind of collect opt-ins for given webinars and stuff like that, and that seems all automated. So
yeah, building Slack bots is actually super easy. It's, if you like tinkering with crappy bits of code and having some fun, it's actually easier than you think. Slack's really good. They've got like a whole API for it and libraries for different languages, and So like there's a Python one, you just download it and you can start messing around with your own Slack bot and stuff. Mine just insults people, so I didn't achieve maximum. But then I didn't have a real use for it, so I was just seeing what it would be like if we tried to build one. But now it actually does do some useful stuff. Like it sends messages from our system into Slack so that we can see things that have gone on that shouldn't have happened. So like exceptions, like late campaigns, or a job that, like if a link was guaranteed and we'd agreed a deal on the paid link side or something, and that actually fails, that's something that should just like never happen. So that gets sent through as an urgent notification to the head of the team that handles that on Slack. So you go from a bot that insults people to a useful bot really quite quickly on Slack. But again, it doesn't talk to you. You can't have a chat with it about the weather, or it just provides information or takes instructions back, like add task, load new job. It has specific things you can tell it to do or whatever. I think they're the most useful bots, are like the old IRC bots and Slack bots at the minute. Ones that pretend to have a conversation, I think are just dumb. They're like the porn bots, like remember Skype used to have, it was before Microsoft bought it, it was just afflicted with porn bots, like these pretend women that would like be like, hey, how are you doing? I really like big strong men like you. Like whatever you type back at it, it was just nonsense until you blocked it. Like it was just like this retarded.
That was actually an affiliate marketing scheme, because they would build like hundreds of those bots, or they would just emulate the same bot over and over.
Oh yeah, and they would send you the link to their cam show. Or whatever. Yeah. Obviously, you never clicked that, but it was just like, Garrett did some funny forum posts on our forum, like, oh God knows, like 10 years ago or something, where he would have conversations with them, and it was just pure gold.
When I was a kid, we had aimbot, the AOL Instant Messenger bot. And you could ask it basic things like, what's the weather, or tell me a joke, or tell me a story. And at that time, it seemed kind of cool, especially to like a 13-year-old. But eventually, it just evolved into the same kind of crap where you're just basically,
people are building their bots with the same technology that AOL built that. That's the problem. Like this pretense that AI's happened. It hasn't happened. There's no neural nets. Like these chatbots are built almost always using the same technology. There's a few companies trying to do some better stuff, but the majority of these chatbots are built using the same tree-based decision making and slightly improved language recognition, but that's about it. Like they don't understand what you're saying, and they don't have a meaningful way to parse it. And Google's probably the leader at it, and they're still failing just to provide an answer to my weather query. So I would bet that Google can answer that query before a chatbot does.
Sure.
And I hate backing Google, but they're definitely winning in that game.
Well, speaking of Google, let's
more than average.
That's a good segue into this Reddit article here, where some dude, I don't actually know what he did, but he did something against Google's terms of service on his company email address, and got the entire company's.
Oh no! On his personal Google account, he violated the terms of service.
No, usually he is on his personal account, but this day he happened to be doing it on his business account, and then that was like the last straw, because I'm sure his phone was still associated with his personal and his business one. And
so Google banned 150 employee accounts.
But like some girls who worked in the office had her personal Android phone permanently locked down and was in tears and stuff. Like, there's got to be, you can't just do things like that and not have support.
So
Google.
Did you guys read the official Google response?
That wasn't there when I posted this.
Okay, yeah, it's been a while. It's been 10 days since this happened. On r/Google, the Google G Suite team looked into it. Basically said this isn't true. We've tried getting in touch with OP, will not respond to us. We do have 24/7 chat, phone, and email support. that someone could have called, and we definitely would have looked into this and fixed this kind of mistake. And still no response from the guy.
So you think that it's just bullshit and he's just trying to give Google a bad rap here?
I don't know.
It seems like a pretty elaborate, story for that to be a joke.
Yeah, you would think the guy would have at least
front page Hacker News as well.
So the only reason I saw it was the first comment is one of the moderators of Today I Fucked Up said, locked because everyone's trying to post their email, which hits Rule 6. Please remember not to give out your information. And there's a link to the Google response and the r/Google. And I actually just noticed this, but
so we'll never know. I only posted this. I wouldn't normally post anything from Reddit, but because it had front page Hacker News and was getting a lot of discussion in the tech industry, I thought I'd pop it on. So that's kind of interesting. How do you get live chat support from Google then?
You got to be paying for G Suite.
Okay, so they now offer full that's pretty cool.
That's what they're saying, yeah. Which is nice because I remember back in the day we used to have a load of issues, whether it was anything Google related, getting them on the phone. You'd have to really look for a phone number.
Yeah, because we barely get any support from Microsoft, and you've stopped it now. You've cancelled Azure, but we had an Azure account. We had the Office 365 subscriptions. With my BizSpark thing. If you don't, I brought it up a long time ago when we first started the show, but if you just started a company, you can go to Microsoft and they'll give you for 3 years everything for free. And then you get $150 a month credit on Azure. My BizSpark thing ran out finally, and before that, getting support, all Microsoft Azure support is outsourced to support companies like Wipro and some other companies, but they can't hire enough people to do support. And we had a critical outage once where the billing got messed up and everything was shut off because the bill wasn't paid. And it took about a month to get it resolved because they don't have support staff. The ticket's labeled as A, critical, not, like C, no impact. Like, services aren't running. Cannot get shit going. It's just who are the guys that were the same as that sponsored Ungagged? And they were giving away the $150 crowd. Hostwinds, yeah. So it was. Let me check before I say anything. Make sure it definitely was them, because Hostwinds. So they're giving away all these credits on Gag, like $150 credit to everyone who goes. I'm like, Jesus, that's everyone else is like sponsoring a table or something and spending no money. Like these guys are getting away.
Yeah, because you got to think the cost of doing $150 of cloud hosting probably costs you $50 a month.
Yeah, and there's 500 people at Ungagged or whatever. I mean, that's a lot of money for just sponsoring Ungagged. Like they could have sent an email out to everyone for $500. So I was like, okay, yeah, we'll check them out. Spin up an instance, select to use the free credits, start trying to test some stuff, and it gets shut down for a billing issue. So I put a ticket in and just forget about it. Like I went and spun up a proper instance on DigitalOcean. And that's the other thing. It took 2 days for my instance that I spun up to actually go live. I was like, what? The whole point of this is you spin up a machine, I can do some shit on it, then I close it down. That's how. Right. So I spun my machine up on DigitalOcean, just did my work there for 3 days, closed it down. My machine eventually goes live on Hostwinds. So I'm like, all right, we'll check it out because got this $150 to use, maybe I'll use it. Got my stuff copied across, set up my virtual machine, was SSHing in, and then I'm locked out. And so I'm like, I put a ticket in. What was it? 4 weeks later. They're like, oh yeah, sorry, yeah, we've got you back live now.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, cool. Yeah, so whatever. I didn't even use it again after that. I was just like, whatever. I must remember to delete this at some point before I run out of $150 and they try and charge me some money. 3 days later, it locks out again with a billing issue for an unpaid bill. I was just like, are you kidding me? No wonder DigitalOcean are eating your lunch.
And then you have to spend an hour on the phone explaining the situation.
Well, if we were a customer, that would have been just horrific. Hopefully they've improved things since November. Hopefully, it was just the world's biggest live beta test of a mess, and they fixed it all based on their experience. Because DigitalOcean for me is just light years ahead of those guys. You spin up an instance, you've got it in 4 seconds. They can figure out that if you've got a balance on there, they shouldn't close your account for a billing issue. They should just take the money from the balance. Just this basic stuff that you should do.
Right,
That apparently Azure and Hostwinds and a few others find difficult. We've got another one. I mean, I won't out these guys because they're really, really good. Other than this, but their billing is a mess. So we upgraded our platform, and I went through the payment thing again on PayPal to change the link over to the new amount, and they reauthorized it. And then 2 months later, or no, three months later, they shut us down for a day for non-payment. And it turns out they'd been charging us 47 cents too little, and I guess when it had gone over $1 that we owed them, they shut us off for not paying the. And it's like, just get your billing right, guys. I mean,
yeah.
If someone upgrades, you've got to change their recurring payment on PayPal to the right amount.
When I run into that type of problem, that's when my Italian anger comes out in full force. I can't handle that type of shit.
Yeah, I mean, they sorted it out, though, to be fair, in 45 minutes, which is 4 weeks quicker than the host wins. Didn't have too much time to get angry. I sent the ticket in, did a couple of Skype calls that I had scheduled, and everything was working again. So, but it's just silly things like that, I guess the whole cloud hosting thing's pretty new. Like, I mean, you still see horror stories of startups on, all the big platforms. Google, AWS, Azure. They signed up based on certain usage limits and levels, and something happened that they didn't expect, and they got some massive bill and got shut off. And it's all still a bit new.
Yeah.
Like with your web host, it was simple. Like you're on this $50 a month package. You have these big numbers to hit, and it doesn't matter how you use them. You do all this other weird stuff. You get shut off when you breach something, or you get, whereas this cloud thing, it's designed to be flexible, and bills can in theory be unlimited. If you use, like if you for whatever reason, like one of your scripts is broken and it accidentally uses 9,000% the amount of compute you expected, your bill will be 9,000% of what you expected. Which didn't happen in the old hosting. Like you bought a server, if you accidentally use 9,000 times 90 times the compute capacity of your server, you just broke your server and realized your script was broken. Whereas cloud that scales and is set to scale, you can run those kind of bills up. So I think it's performing as intended. Like, you can't say that AWS, Azure, Google Cloud or whatever have done anything wrong. That's what people paid for. They paid for scalable. But there's definitely things that can go pretty badly wrong.
Yeah. That sounds like there needs to be some kind of alert system.
Well, you got to be careful.
So, yeah, a lot of them do have alerts.
Well,
like
the big thing is, like, if you're on AWS or Azure, you're only paying for so much compute power. You can't go over it, and you will brick it. You will brick your VM, or it's just going to be locked. It's not going to. You have to configure it yourself.
If you buy by VM, most companies that are buying cloud things, it's like automatically scaling.
Right, it's still a VM, but it's still going to be scaling to other VMs. But by that token, it doesn't. When it's scaling, like if you're in Azure, you have to be writing a bunch of scripts that's going to be checking. It's going to say so many people are clicking on such and such product, or they're coming from here. We need to scale because something's actually happening, and not like, oh, we were running this fucking script and it keeps looping infinitely. So
right.
There is, like, it can definitely happen in that sense, but I don't think it's as bad as it used to be. It's definitely a good point, but it isn't checked because we've seen stuff where we've gotten overbilled because I forgot to like check stuff like that.
It sounds like something that would happen on an episode of Silicon Valley. I don't know if you guys watch that. But,
Yeah, I've seen a couple of episodes. Yeah, I keep meaning to watch it properly because everyone keeps talking about it. Like, it seems
what
pretty
channel
funny.
is that on?
that's an HBO program.
Does Hulu have HBO, or do you have to buy HBO?
I don't have cable anymore. I just use Sling TV through the internet. So it's like $50 a month, and I think I pay an extra $5 for HBO. So, but anyway, we've got QBasic back on the radar.
Oh yeah, this is my totally random link for the week. Do you guys remember QBasic when you were kids?
That's what I started with.
I started with VB6.
I went QBasic, VB6, and then I think I went to Python, and then that was the end of it.
Oh man, yeah. I mean, so I've been thinking about this a lot because, like when I was a kid, my dad bought me a computer, and I was like, you can tell how old I am that I was like 11 when the Amstrads were out, the first kind of PC type computer.
Mm-hmm.
And he was sick of me like dicking around on his laptop, so he bought me a PC 1512, slapped it down, and it had like I was like, what games does it have? And he threw down a Basic for Dummies equivalent book for the era. He's like, there's your games. Right one. But like QBasic, it wasn't QBasic on that one. It was like whatever came before. It was like IBM Basic or something. But it was the exact same thing virtually. Like,
Right.
It was so easy to learn. Whereas now languages are written to be beautiful. Like Python is great if you're already a programmer but how do you explain to a kid about like indents having to line up and all this kind of stuff? Basic, it was just like you just got in there and wrote print something, but then as you learn more programming, you could write functions in there and proper things without go-tos and all this kind of stuff. But while you were just learning as a kid and you just wanted to make a silly like question and answer game, you could do that a week after your dad gave you a book.
Right.
What do you teach your kids on now? Is my question to everyone. And Hacker News didn't really have an answer. Like someone suggested Haskell, which was pretty hilarious. It's incomprehensible to adults, for God's sake.
Aren't there a number of toys that teach kids?
Well, that was actually the main thrust of the discussion. Is all this nonsense that isn't real programming. When we were kids, there was QBasic on every computer, so any kid who wanted to learn programming could just program in something real.
Right? Yeah, I forgot about that.
You could access graphics. You could actually make, like, one of the kids at my school made like a whole, like, it was a boat like with missile defenses protecting itself from missiles coming through, like, and all the graphics were handled in QBasic. The collision detection, everything you could go from like writing a simple what's your name, print your name is awesome type thing to something as crazy as that, because it had access to the graphics, it had access to everything. So all this new stuff is like this fancy stuff that isn't real programming.
Yeah, but Basic was in the accessories menu on Windows up until like Windows Millennium or ME or whatever it was. I remember that now.
And I one of the guys on Hacker News, he was saying, I just got DOSBox and got QBasic running for my kids.
And then there was what was it, TCP/IP that was on there too, and you could dial into like the bulletin board message systems and
old BBSs. Yeah.
Oh my God, that's a long time ago. Holy shit.
So I don't know. I mean, because that's something I'm thinking about. Like, my kid's really young now, but it's only going to be a few years till she'd be able to start to learn. Like, I mean, probably I'll teach her Python because it was an interpreted language, which means you can play around on the command line like with Basic and just type print hello and it prints hello and you can get instant feedback. I don't think you can teach a compiled language to a kid. I mean, that just seems insane.
Yeah, in high school I had it was computer science class, but it was really just VB6, and I think the whole year we made like a Palm a Pong game or like a screensaver or something like
We were
that.
supposed to do ours. Our teacher in computer science in high school, she could only code in basic. Well, she couldn't code in anything. Like, she'd been fired by IBM for being incompetent. But in theory, she could code in basic. So, but I'd learned C++, so I made a point of doing all my projects in C++, including. I don't know how I learned assembly. Like, I can't even learn how to like use a new website or a new app on my phone. I've become like the full old man syndrome version. I used to like write all in C++ and C, but with loads of assembly thrown in, where I thought it would be more because compilers were shit back then. So I'd like, be like, "What? I was drawing a line." She's like, "What the hell's all this assembly in here for?" I was like, "Well, I was drawing a line, and the line algorithm that came with this C compiler is too slow, so I wrote my own in assembly."
Yeah.
And she never did it, but I submitted. It was
the very minimal amount of programming that I've done. It always felt like I was playing like a video game. I would get the same satisfaction like from making my program work that I would, playing Doom and killing an alien or something like that.
It took having to do it for like work things to get me back into it. Like, it was when I got into SEO. I hadn't coded since I was a teenager.
Right.
Like,
I would have liked to stuck with it when I still enjoyed it, just for the enjoyment of it. But like you said, like now I don't code at all. But when I got back into computer stuff, it was to make money and not just for the pure enjoyment of it. So it's a little different.
Well, I think the system I coded's made us a lot of money. Like, I don't think we could have done anything to achieve. Like, we couldn't scale the business.
Right.
You get plenty of enjoyment out of it when it makes you money too.
I have a guarantee that my CRM is going to be on my server tomorrow. So
I think our like add-on thing that we ordered is done too. I was talking to one of my friends who's like a proper like big league developer, and I was like, I was like, these guys offered to do this for like $1,800, and like the only reason we paid it is because I couldn't have started till like now. I would have finished it by the end of June. They've only beaten me by a month, and they started last year.
Yeah.
It's like
I had to have the conversation, as you can imagine. But I've been guaranteed it'll be on my server tomorrow, and then I'm inviting all my buddies over my house to
test it out.
To test it out, and then we're gonna have a few clients come on for a month. And then
it's going to make a huge difference for you. You won't even estimate now like how big a difference it's going to make.
Yeah. So yeah, I figured that the rest of this year, I was hoping to have this fully operational this year, but the rest of the year will probably just be ironing out the works of the automation.
You're going to be like, fuck, I was struggling to grow. Now I'm a $10 million business.
Knock on wood, or fake wood, or whatever that is.
No, I think it's going to make a huge difference. It's going to free up 60% of your time instantly.
Yeah, and I get to hire an account manager to, take over clients after I'm done with the initial sales process and onboarding them. And,
I don't trust anyone to do that. Like, I keep Garrett and I keep all of our own clients. Like, whoever we sign, we speak to them forever.
Yeah, well,
I enjoy talking to them. I love chatting to people about their projects, and like, it's super fun for me. It's the only, to be honest, I mean, like, link building is a pretty thankless task. Like, talking to the clients is the bit that I really enjoy. So I would hate to. I mean, we'll have to at some point.
Yeah, I think that and a lot of clients, we end up getting into strategy conversations too, and obviously that wouldn't stop. But more of the stuff like, now I'm manually delivering deliverables and manually doing reports.
Right.
And
we need to solve that one. The thing is, the reason we do it is I have to look at, whichever one of us it's our client, we have to look at the report anyway. So then I've got it on the computer and I've looked at it. It's like only 1 extra second to drag it into someone's Skype then. So it's like, I may as well just deliver it. But
and the system's going to have a lot of automated messages too. So your project is now in production. Your project has gone to proofreading. So all this type of stuff, I was just typing out manually.
Do you feel that? Oh, so you do that manually? Like I don't like doing that because then you open the door to questions. Does that happen? Like when you send someone in?
No, I'm very personable with most
But
of my clients.
so am I. But like I love talking to everybody, but there's only a couple clients that I'll say, yeah, no, this is where we're at right now. Most of the other time is just, I don't talk to them until the end of the month.
Yeah, I want to chat to people, when we're delivering.
Yeah.
Like in the middle, there's nothing going on. We're just
it might be for us, and links a little bit different
it's
than
like,
content, because then all of a sudden it's like, oh, you're halfway done through the order. Can you just show me what you have? And it's like, no, just wait till you're done, because it tends to open up conversations where, I'm really not happy with this, and we're halfway through, and it's like, well, when you see the rounded out report, you're going to see that, like, the average of what you actually ordered is way, way higher. It's just stuff like that happens where
well, Vin knows, like, at the end of the report, there's often a lot of extra links in there.
Yeah.
So, it's like, for me, it's like, doing a report halfway through, it's like, you're not going to believe me that this is actually really good, because what's to come is awesome. And it's like, so I just try not to get in those conversations.
That is a big problem for us, that, like, if you report halfway through, you think about it, like the sites that are like DA40, your average report, Ben, you're gonna have a few that are just insane. Like there's these DA60 ones come through now and then. The DA60 one was always the last one to come in,
right?
Like, because the if you order DA26 plus, the DA27 site, so they're publishing like anything they can get not anything they can get their hands on, but they're much more light on budget. So if they have 3 posts queued up, you're unlucky. So if they're saying to you, oh yeah, I can get that up for you next Wednesday, that's about as unlucky you can get. Whereas a DA60 site, they're like, well, we've got 30 posts queued up, we'll do it on basically the due date for this whole fucking campaign. But that's what makes us stand out, the fact that we can pick up those occasional amazing sites. But if you see the report as it comes along, you miss out on the whole thing as a whole, which is, oh yeah, this is an amazing report. So it's kind of tough for us to report as we go along, because as a whole our reports are way, way better than our competitors, but the first 3 links we get in might be just the same.
Right. No, I understand. For us, it's like people ask, can you deliver as you finish? And from just a logistical standpoint, doing it manually, that's pretty difficult.
That's impossible.
But
I tried to make you do that.
The way we have the program written is, we have the overarching project, so and then we have individual articles. So as the writers finish the articles.
To be fair to me though, like your website looked so fancy and stuff. I thought you were more like kind of text broker or something, like huge, not like you were going to be emailing me personally with here's your.
Well, what am I supposed to do? Hey, let me build a shitty website to
If you just looked a bit more incompetent, I would. I was like, what do you mean you can't just have them automatically come over somehow and then?
Well, the thing is, people do appreciate. I've gotten lots of feedback. I'm sure Vin's gotten feedback. The personable, even as we grow, and I'm sure Steve and I will find someone that we finally trust to take on some account work. It's like, people definitely value.
I give that. I'm weighting the probability of that somewhere around
5%.
Yeah.
I really just need somebody that can answer questions quickly, and because obviously in the course of the day, Vinny gets grumpy quite often, from headaches, and oftentimes that comes through in client emails, which definitely should not happen. So an extra helper, which I'll call an account manager, that'll go a long way to boost customer service and just the general happiness of our clients.
Yeah, I think there's definitely an argument for that. It's tough. It's a tough balance, because sometimes you get like one of those, and it's something that you won't teach an inexperienced account person. Like, you're having a chat with someone, and they're like chasing for an update. So the obvious thing to do is give them an update. The not obvious thing to do is have a long, detailed chat about how they're getting on, and then during that chat, they place an extra order. So the original campaign's not quite finished, but you have a chat with them. You go through what you've done so far, what's coming in, and then they're like, "Oh yeah. Well, could you give me another 10 of these while we're at it? Then I don't want to wait for them." And it's so hard to get that person who doesn't just give them the, "Yeah, we're almost done. Give me a couple of weeks." Like,
Right.
you've got to be, because what they really like, if someone's on you for like, "Why aren't you finished? Why aren't you finished?" It's because they want to give you more money, not because they want an update. They don't want an update. They want you to be goddamn well finished.
Yeah. And you know what? We operate as a true agency. I don't know if you guys consider yourself an agency or more of like an online service, but we're getting to the point where we might not be able to bring on new clients, or we might just have to raise rates, just because.
That's what we're doing.
You'll be able to do both.
Yeah.
You think about how small you were 2 years ago compared with now.
Right.
Like, if you'd spoken to your 2 years ago person, you were already feeling like you were maxed out.
That's true.
Oh, we might have to not bring in any more new clients now. But yet you're like, whatever, how many of a times bigger, like 5 times or whatever. I don't know. So, but like, you'll solve those problems. I think you'll do both. Your quality will go up, rates will go up accordingly, and new clients will keep coming in.
I don't know about you guys, but it's also exponentially tough to watch something that Steve and I have invested a lot of time into. Vin's invested a lot of time into his company. You have a certain level of expectations, and it's always something that worries me, where even if we found a perfect account person, it's like, do I ever trust them? I have a lot. Just in the link building agency is 2 years now, that just in link building alone, that we've built this company up to a damn near 6-figure or a 7-figure company just in links. And it's like, that's something that's always in the back of my head. It's like, is that person ever going to care as much as you? Probably not.
Yeah. Well, in my mind, I'm never giving them autonomy over tasks. Like I said, it's really just going to be, I'm going to figure out some kind of email system where they can jump in and answer boilerplate questions.
I'm just saying, I'm that petty even on that low level stuff. It's like, I have a hard time personally letting go.
I'm worse than Garrett. Like, I don't even like Garrett's emails. I'm like, you didn't spend half an hour thinking about this, Garrett. What the hell are you sending me? I'm terrible. I'll think deeply about every word I say and stuff, just because they're gonna, like, the person you send it to is gonna deeply think about what you said to them. They're not gonna think, oh yeah, he just quickly sent this email in 4 seconds. Even if you did, they're not gonna think that. They're gonna read every word you sent and take every word as your input into whatever they said. So I like to make sure I've given it the same thought that they're going to give it at the other side.
Well, I'm looking at my inbox right now, and today's haul was 53 different email threads, and several of which were touched multiple times in the day. So that gives you a little bit of an idea. And that's just email. That has nothing to do with dealing with my writers or marketing the business or dealing with the developer team or anything like that.
But for any of you who are thinking, like, is it worth it? Like, I mean, I've just got a client emailing who knew that we had some stuff going on in the family today. He's just emailed in to say he hopes it went well today and stuff like that. If you care about them, your customers care about you too. I think that's the part that worries me.
Like, I've lost the
technical skills or the thinking about the wording. I actually care about the people and spending the time to make sure I respect their feelings and what they're
even accounts that we've lost, like on my side of the thing, it's like I still talk to everyone like we're still friends for the most part. Just, hey, what the fuck have you been up to? I haven't talked to you in 2 months. It's like they don't order for us anymore for any number of reasons, and it's like, haven't talked to this guy. I'm just to see what the fuck he's up to, because we used to talk all the time, and now it's like, oh, I kind of miss talking to such and such about this because that's what they're working on. And it's like, yeah, it goes a long way.
I have breakfast. I have breakfast all the time in Philadelphia with one of our old clients.
Yeah.
I mean, he hasn't hired another agency or anything. He just doesn't work with anyone anymore. People bringing things in house is inevitable. You can't hold it against them. If someone brings all their operations in house, then if you can't just hate the guy for the rest of his life. If you guys were friends for 5 years or something, it's like still go for breakfast, have a good time. Anyway, I should stop waffling on now. Let's move on.
So, anyways, I'm sure you guys have gotten the plenty of calls that I get about, well, the voicemails, because I don't answer them, but you need to list your business with us for $97, otherwise you will be banned by Google, and you will never have your business on there. Google's taken an authoritative step for once, and they're starting to litigate these companies. Who's the big one that they're going after right now? Point Break Media, who has been just probably bending people over and raping them, people that don't know any better.
I think we have to do one of our legal disclaimers there now. Garrett's opinion is not the opinion of the SEO UnMasked.
Well, I mean, Barry Schwartz here does not have a legal disclaimer.
Well, we'll just say, if you just said Barry says, then we don't have to put our legal disclaimer on. It's an ongoing case.
Okay, let me clarify. Barry definitely did not say bending over and raping them.
Well, I don't think anyone thinks they literally did that.
So but these companies, they call up small business owners that are unsuspected of what's going on, and they'll say, yeah, you're getting some leads from the internet. You don't really know how. But if you don't pay us $97 or $197, we're just going to ban you from Google. You're going to get banned. And they'll be like, well, I guess. I don't want anything bad to happen. Okay, yeah. And, I'm sure the success rate isn't great, but they make a living out of it, so.
I get these snail mail letters, which are invoices that say, your inclusion in the search engines are about to expire.
I get those by email in my spam folder.
Oh yeah, I get those.
$84 today, so you stay visible in the search engines.
Well, these people were threatening to do though was, judging by what Google said in their legal action, was they were threatening to remove people from Google My Business. So they were basically going to. Who knows whether they were actually going to do it? I'm assuming not. But I guess from Google's perspective, people threatening people that they would go in and edit the map pack, edit maps, delete people's businesses. That's not really in line with them maintaining an accurate map, which is the whole purpose of them maintaining those local listings. So,
well, you can also say that they're acting as a representative of Google in that situation too, where they're saying, I have the authority to edit what appears in Google, and to an unsuspecting person.
It's people like this that ruin everything, and it's the old Gary Vaynerchuk saying, marketers ruin everything. These people are ruining, Google has the whole map editors, they let people make suggestions, changes, add photos, and then at the same time, Google's seeing people doing stuff like this, and then they're thinking internally, Jesus, do we just need to, it can only be staff that can edit things, and business owners that we've card verified, and everything else we just don't allow people to correct because, we can't police everyone and we can't trust anyone. And it's just people ruining what's a good crowdsourced system. Because it's cool to be able to go in and make a correction that's useful to the community if you're one of the people that's into doing the maps in your community and stuff. And there's people like this that they've managed to get access to make edits, and then they're threatening businesses. It's pretty depressing to me. One of those, I don't know, Google's such a, I don't know, it's such a schizophrenic company. On one hand, they do so much good, and on one hand, you wonder if they're some kind of deranged uncle that's had too much to drink and wants to start a fight at the family party all the time. I don't understand them at all. It's a strange company.
Yeah. Next to the news, another article from Barry. You know, every week we're talking about.
Well, this is our feature news story from the.
Yeah. It's kind of like the half-ass main topic today. You know, every week Barry covers the update chatter, and everyone's like, "Oh, update." And I think we all agree at this point it's just the normalcy of it now. We're seeing more things in real time. Shitty sites are getting devalued for whatever. But, you know, something I have against, you know, like Mozcast and Certmetrics and Algoroo and whoever else, Rank Ranger, SEMrush. You keep looking at these things and, you know, their temperature is like permanently averaging way over 80 degrees. And then every Friday it's 105, 110.
Summer every day, baby.
Yeah, it's like we're living at the equator. And that's the only place we live at. And it's like, is there a time where these forecasting things, how reliable they are, who the fuck knows? I don't think they are. Do we need to make some sort of change to their algorithm that measures this volatility? Because now a 100-degree day today is pretty much just like a normal day. It's more like a 68 degrees.
Well, basically nothing changed today.
No.
Like, I don't know. Did you see anything? I saw nothing. None of our clients saw
it's
anything.
Like,
I don't say none of our clients saw anything. Maybe one or two
it's
did.
Just like this average, you know, if you look at this Mozcast graph, it's the exact same thing every week. The trend line is pretty much the same. It's hot, and then you can do a U, and you do a U, and you do a U, and then you do a U. It's like, it's not an average of 89 degrees everywhere on the internet. It's just normal now, and I think we got to take into account that things need to be shifted down a little bit because it just seems inflated. You know, what if updates continue?
Well, most days I don't see anything happen.
Well, right, but it's still a temperature of 82-ish degrees average in Moscow.
Yeah, it's insane.
And it's like, what happens when inevitably things are going to be increasingly more real time, where we might see within a couple days you're going to get nailed for something, and it's like, is it going to be 180 degrees all of a sudden? You know, it's like, you know, the temperature doesn't necessarily matter, but it's like, I think it's just time we kind of squeeze things down a little bit and say 107-degree high is now like the 80-degree high, because it happens almost every week.
Yeah, I mean, I think on a normal day where it's the normal algorithmic flux, that should just be a normal spring day or whatever. It used to be that you saw a day of 100 degrees, you know, Penguin had hit or something.
Right.
Now you see a day of 100 degrees and nothing's happened.
Yeah. And I have no idea how these volatility things are calculated. I have no idea. But I just don't see a correlation.
The volatility in SERPs is probably higher than it used to be. So I mean,
well, I definitely agree.
You know.
That's like the whole point. But now, like the scales don't exactly make sense now, because it's like we're seeing such a high volatility that the makers of the scales never even fathomed.
Are we now on the tip side?
Yeah. You know, it's like we haven't even fathomed volatility could be this high, and now it is, and it's like, oh shit.
As far as volatility goes, it's just, for me, it's like a couple keywords go up 5 spots, a couple keywords go down 5 spots.
Yeah, and it's like business as usual.
If I hit a page with a link or two last week, that page either jumped 20 spots or dropped 20 spots, and I know that if it dropped in about 2 weeks, it's going to hit the first page. And,
the only interesting thing is, as Carter's pointed out a few times on Builder Society, SERPWoo picks up real volatility ahead of the other people, and he is correct. SERPWoo has always caught it first if there's real volatility. A lot of the times when the others have reported a kind of an artificial high and then adjusted it back, or whenever there's been real volatility, SERPWoo has caught it first.
Interesting.
Well, I mean, they're probably, I don't know, maybe Moz will get better because they've got more data now than they had before. They got a bigger crawler.
Well, that's what you get when you get guys that build a tool, and they're the same guys that would actually use the tool in the real world, and they're not just building the tool for they're building it for themselves almost.
Yeah, Sertwoo's development process is pretty intense. I mean, his live blog of the development is insane. It's like 0.1 seconds wasn't quick enough for this page.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't know. I mean, Sertwoo's always seemed plenty fine to me. Like, even when it was crap, according to his blog, I was like, yeah, this is pretty good. But apparently it was terrible back then. So yeah, I mean, those guys are pretty obsessive. Meanwhile, Dr. Pete from Mars tweeted today, sometimes I feel like this data science thing is you just swear at your computer and go make a sandwich. I was like, well, yeah. That's why
So how it's interpreted, right?
That's why Sertwoo's volatility is beating Mosscast.
We have a visitor, Foley. The EU is proposing to tax links. No joke.
How do you mean?
I don't know.
Oh, this is hilarious. So the EU. I don't think I shared the link to this, did I? I don't think I put it on.
No.
Yeah. So there's a new EU law coming where you're not going to be allowed to cite sources. If you cite a source, you're violating their copyright. They bring in a new proxy copyright law. Where it's
what? Wait, so do they understand how the internet is created? Like,
they don't understand anything. So say
who the fuck is in charge of the EU Commission on this?
Yeah, a bunch of Germans mostly, I think.
Mussolini? Hitler? Holy fuck.
Yeah, I'm not going to comment, but yeah, there's a reason why I voted Brexit. So basically, there's this idea that, news sites, so say the New York Times breaks the story, the way the traditional news cycle worked is, like, the Guardian would be like, the New York Times has broken the story on this, so-and-so's been arrested. The new rule is going to be, well, have you paid the New York Times for linking to their site and covering their story? No, why? You better pay them some money, because otherwise you've breached their rights.
Why?
So you're not going to be able to link to news stories. You're not going to be able to.
At what point is it public information?
Never.
What if the news story is a year old, and it's like
if you send your own journalist to the court, you can report on it then, but you can't break it immediately. The New York Times breaks their bust, like currently happens. And you can't cite, like, academic research.
Okay, so yeah, all I see now is nobody's citing any work.
Well, yeah, but you still violate, even if you don't link to it, you still violate their copyrights. Oh, that's the beautiful thing. Like, platforms like your web host, if you've got a European web host, your web host has to build an automated, like, AI scraping tool to analyze your generated content and make sure that they're reporting you to.
Meanwhile, in America, we as a whole are freaking out about net neutrality. And then meanwhile, in the European Union, we have some real Stone Age shit going on.
Yeah, that's real crazy, man. Maybe it's just because I don't understand the culture over there, and I'm just used to it. So
if I was in Germany and I was writing a paper and I went to the library...
Oh, if you were in Germany, you'd be in jail already, even without this new law.
But if I wrote a research paper and I cited a book I rented from the library, would I have to pay them because I cited in like an academic research paper? Would I have to pay whoever I cited because I read this book and got some numbers out of it? You know, I cited my work like a good boy. Do I have to pay them now?
I think so. Yeah. Oh, and here's the beautiful thing.
Isn't that the point of them selling the books? Is because that's how they get their money?
The proposed solution for schools is schools will buy like a block license to approved sources. So students will only be able to cite in their papers approved sources by the government.
Yeah, so this does sound like Mussolini and Hitler.
Someone tweeted today, 1984 and V's for Vendetta were books and movies, not an instruction manual for how to run your country, you fucking idiots. And I was like, yeah.
Holy shit.
Fuck, this is...
So yeah,
this is like we're going back to the Dark Ages here, and the Christians are in charge. They still are.
Insane. It's absolutely insane.
The
But
Catholics.
the problem with it is, like, because of the, I mean, it's shocking that even with, you know, a Republican Congress, Republican House, and Republican President, you've got a state in America going to impose GDPR-style privacy rules. California, you cunts.
Yeah.
Like, the liberal agenda has become so aggressive and militarized that this kind of ridiculous law can spread like a contagion really, really easily to the most susceptible states, California. And it's just madness. It's absolute madness. Because it's against what everyone's voted for.
Well,
we better not.
Let's tie this into the next article here because we're talking about GDPR anyway. So.
All right, roll it on.
Yeah. Did you? Let's see if I'll let you take this anyway because
Which
you know
article
much
was this?
about it.
The next one.
Everything you need to know about GDPR. Your zero hedge piece.
Oh, there it is.
It's not on the list.
Yeah, it is. It's just in
Oh,
black. I missed it too.
I was clicking around trying to find it.
Do you guys have a problem in Chrome where if like you're on a page and you go in the URL bar, you click it once, everything is highlighted, and you do a Control V to paste a new URL in, but it just loads the same page you're already on?
Yeah, I think you're just moving too quickly.
Yeah, I think you're too fast for Chrome.
No, because if I do wait like a second, then yeah, it pisses me off.
I actually read a really interesting thing from an American had put on Twitter, like, do you guys need us to come and invade you again and save you from yourselves? I was like, yes, please, come back over, America. And save us.
It's just insane. It's like, to me, it's just like a long tunnel of how can we control what you're reading.
It's scary. It's absolutely terrifying. One of so there's been a lot of, as a citizen here, I can't even tell you the whole details. So a person was jailed for filming outside of court during a controversial trial.
Outside, like on the street?
Yeah, on the street, filming judicial due process, and he's in jail for breach of the peace.
Wow.
Can't say anything else because it's against the law.
It's the last time I come back to your shithole country.
Yeah, can you not come with troops next time and liberate us or something? I don't know.
I mean, that's a conversation for another day. But
yeah.
What is the logic behind that?
I don't know. I think I'm gonna do the show with like an American flag on my wall from now on or something. Please take me. Save me, Americans.
Come on over, buddy.
Oh man, it's I don't know. Like so zero hedge is obviously pretty. It's really controversial in the tech world because they're pretty negative about everything, but a whole bunch of and I think this is the right decision. Like a whole bunch of US news websites were like, oh, you know what, fuck this. You don't get to read our site anymore, so they just blocked us all from reading.
Yeah.
And it's like that the Chicago Tribune, just to give you the idea that this isn't just some like half-bit news organization in like Oklahoma or something. You know what I mean? This is proper news sites.
Right.
No offense, Oklahoma. It's just you haven't got the Chicago Tribune or the New York Times or whatever. Like, I don't even know any of your newspapers. No one outside America does. Do you know any Oklahoma newspapers, Vin?
Nope. Do not.
Yeah, so I mean, it wasn't being offensive to Oklahoma. It was just the international news sources from America are more like Chicago and New York and stuff like that.
Right.
But yeah, like the New York Daily News, the Los Angeles Times, they were just blocked. They were just blocked the whole of Europe.
Yeah.
And if this kind of
that's what I'm saying, man. It's like they know the people are just going to black out, and all of a sudden you have this really narrow band of approved resources because they're the only resources that took the time to be compliant. And it's like, maybe I got my tinfoil hat on, but who helped them get compliant and who did this? And all of a sudden you just got a very few select.
You're saying we can't trust the BBC, where they refer to where they refer to any Palestinians killed as terrorists and any Israeli soldiers killed as people or civilians. There's a conflict there. I mean, the BBC provides totally impartial coverage of that situation. Oh, when the kill ratio is like 80-1 in favor of Israel, they still report it as if the 7 Israeli soldiers that died were innocent people that died. This is about.
Anyways, I'm looking at this infographic here, and it's when can you process personal data? I'm at point 30, and consent. That's pretty straightforward to me. I see a lot of vagueness in these 6 pieces here. You know, vital interests. Probably not super vague, but I can see some obscurities. A contract. That's kind of straightforward. Public task, straightforward. Legal obligation. Might be able to hold people together with some really cool terms of service stuff on your website, where, like Apple likes to.
Well, there's currently a lawsuit with Facebook. They immediately got sued as when GDPR came in because they tried to force through a terms and condition change, but they couldn't show that their terms and conditions was required to run the service.
And then number 35, legitimate interest. I'm sure there's more to it, obviously, than what's in this infographic, but define a legitimate business interest.
Oh, what they plan to do is allow the courts to define that.
Oh, that makes total sense. Who the like, seriously, who's the panel in charge of this? It's like they're just getting paid to throw shit, and okay, it's gonna stick.
Well, everyone laughed at us as Brexiters when we criticized Europe's prescriptive laws around the shape of our bananas. They're like, oh, you're just being ridiculous. You know, it was just good farming law, all this bullshit. It's like they wanted straight bananas. Like, bananas come bendy. Like, that's the fucking shape there. How could you put a law in about straight bananas? That's not how they come. They literally don't come that way. Like, and everyone laughed at us like we were being paranoid lunatics. Oh yeah, but it will never affect anything important. We should just vote to stay and trust them because, you know, there's common sense there. These are people too, right? They're not too. They're fucking insane.
It actually, this makes me like sick to my stomach.
Yeah, it's really fucked.
Just imagine how you feel.
I don't want to talk about this anymore right now.
Yeah,
we might be out soon. Come on, Theresa May. I have very little faith in you.
I have very
but please deliver us from Europe.
Anyways, ranking on Amazon, not something I've ever messed around too much with. We had a client at one time. We were trying to do stuff, but they were an extremely difficult client and didn't see the value in selling their product on Amazon, so we didn't get too far. But
apparently, Amazon's for chumps.
Yeah.
It's like, look, dude, it's like 60% of retail sales in the world or something. I don't know.
Especially something like this. Lo and behold, now a majority.
When was the last time either of you bought something that wasn't on Amazon that wasn't food?
I buy food on Amazon.
I buy all my food on Amazon.
Well, he even buys food. Yeah, no. Okay, so even including food, you guys are.
Amazon Pantry, man.
Amazon Fresh. It's called there.
They're two different things. I live too far away from the city to get fresh, so.
And it's delivery service within 24 hours, and the food is literally healthier than what you could get at the normal grocery. And it comes in these big freezer, dry pack freezer boxes, and then you unpack it and you just leave it on your front porch, and they come pick up the boxes, and you have your grocery. But yeah, they
got beat over here by a company called Ocado. Which is tied in with Waitrose at the time. They're a separate company now, but Waitrose is like our second poshest grocery company.
Yeah.
Like all the stuff's just better than like you'd get on Amazon here or like any of the other ones that do delivery. So like Ocado kind of got in first. So Ocado's still the winner here, but
over here you got to use like different services for different things. They excel in different areas.
Yeah.
Like for dry goods, I wouldn't use like paper towels and toilet paper. I go Walmart.com or Boxed.com.
is that because they do your like 8-ply for you? Like
No,
your
just pricing wise for whatever reason.
Yeah, I like Boxed for that stuff.
Yeah. But yeah, ranking on Amazon SEO.
Yeah, so I don't know. WordStream, I've read some shit by them over the years, and it's all usually pretty straightforward, basic stuff, but it's something we don't talk about. So, kind of like normal SEO. Title is going to be a big thing. You know, click-through is probably super important on Amazon. It's not.
Verified reviews are huge for ranking on top of
they are now, yeah. It's
categories.
How much
things.
Yeah.
Seller name, that's kind of interesting to me. The bullet points you use in your product description.
Seller name. So, like, if you're the shoeguy.com, you'll rank higher for shoe queries.
Apparently, kind of
like the EMD
domain. Yeah.
Interesting.
Excuse me. The product's price. Yeah. Conversion rate. Well, that plays into everything else you've done. So.
Yeah.
Obviously, that's important.
From what I learned from a former mutual client of ours, it's all about time on the product page and the verified reviews, to which he very easily gamed the verified reviews. And
well, we spoke about that a couple of shows ago, based on that story about the Chinese products.
Right. I just found out he's doing multi-millions of dollars a year from that brand that he built from gaming the review system.
Oh,
so if you can figure it out, there's money to be made.
Well, there's money to be made in search if you can figure it out at all.
Yeah.
I mean, everything we do is reverse engineering someone else's search algorithm to make ourselves more money. Like, I mean, you know, Google would love a world where they could just tell what the best, because that's the thing people don't get. Like that thing we spoke about that Garrett found, the news story about the drug treatment industry, and they were like, "Oh, this site's not necessarily the best at drug treatment; they're just the best at SEO." That's actually how the whole of Google works. That's how the whole of Amazon search works. You don't find the best product on Amazon; you find the best at Amazon SEO. That's at the price you're prepared to pay. The same on Google. You don't find the number one dentist in a town on Google isn't the number one dentist in that town by any dentistry measures. Google doesn't know a fucking shit piece about their business.
No.
They literally know nothing about them. The guy might be a fucking unqualified hick.
He might be with a guy with a screwdriver and a pair of pliers and he's pulling teeth.
Yeah.
Right.
Like, they know nothing about the business at all, except for things that are on the algorithm. So reviews. He might be brilliant at getting people to like give him good reviews. Like they don't know anything about the business, basically, and the same's true on Amazon. They don't really know. They know nothing about what the best keyboard is when you type keyboards in. They just have their stupid algorithm, just like all the other search engines. And if you're an expert at this, there's more than a few million to be made. You know, there's companies that exist purely as, I mean, it's telling that Neil Patel's most recent case study, and he's a search guy. He's been a search guy. His most recent case study was building his site from 0 to 200,000 traffic. But do you know where all the money on his income reports the site were from? It's Amazon, fulfilled by Amazon sales.
Right.
The site propped up his fulfilled by Amazon performance. For sure. Like having that extra traffic, those extra conversions, direct sales and stuff are all part of the algorithm. So yeah, of course, having the site made him the money. But all the money came from once he ranked on Amazon. Like it's the game now. If you have a white label or your own product to sell, You want to sell it on Amazon first, and then also do SEO. SEO is for people that aren't selling their own product or who can't sell it on Amazon. Like if you're a credit card company, obviously you can't sell your credit cards on Amazon. But if you're like I don't know, like sunscreen manufacturer, you're going to sell way more sunscreen just straight direct fulfilled by Amazon than you could ever sell on your own website trying to rank for sunscreen against all the big brands. It's not even close now. It's not even close. Obviously, if you're an affiliate site trying to sell sunscreen, then Google's your man still, and probably always will be.
I think the game is always, dominate the affiliate, and then once you have that brand established, then go ahead and make your own product and start selling your product after you have the brand recognition.
I don't know. I think it's just like sell your business, and
that could be it too. I guess it would depend on the vertical, right? If you're
I mean, come on, imagine you run like the biggest like you run a huge holiday site and you sell shitloads of like super strong sunscreen for kids on your site for whatever reason, because it's like really popular with families. You're not going to make your own stuff with 50 million. You're going to go do something else. I think they're totally different skills and different businesses.
Right.
Like,
that's true.
Product, that stuff, it's totally different from just marketing and building a media company. Like being successful in search is building a media company. Being successful on Amazon is being a product maker. But gaming the search algorithm is still going to be a key to success on both. But if everyone who uses your sunscreen ends up sunburned, you're not going to do too. If you're an affiliate marketer, you just swap your offers out.
Right.
And Google still thanks you. So making a product's a whole different game. It's much harder. It's a different skill. The people that have that skill make probably more money, but you can have some pretty tasty exits just playing in the Google. We toyed with it. We talked about doing like pet supplements, Garrett and I, and a friend of ours who's qualified to like certify the supplements and design them for us. We just went through the numbers and the work and everything, and it's so much more work.
Yeah.
Like if that's not your thing, like if that was our thing and we were excited by it, like, oh yeah, we loved designing products, we love doing all of this.
I'd like to get into something like that one day, but right now I already have 3 bags under my eyes, and it's like
yeah, I think we all have enough on our plate right now that we don't need to be opening up
a pet
yeah, exactly.
But that's a great niche. If any of you guys want to jump ahead of it, show us how it's done. No, seriously, people will pay like insane amounts of money, get a powder that they put in the, because the dog food you get is just like the fucking factory.
Yeah, that's the don't tweet this. It's blowing up.
But it is because like your typical dog food, they actually have to add crap loads of perfume to it, because dogs will eat anything, like they eat their own sick, right?
Right.
Dog food, before they add the perfume to it, smells so disgusting a dog won't even eat it. So they add like crap loads of perfume to it. Like it's such a low nutritional value. And look at the ages of average breeds surviving now. Like golden retrievers used to live 18 to 20 years. The average golden retriever now lives 11 years, and it's because of the shit we're feeding them. It's poison. You're better off buying the cheapest, crappiest mints you can find at the supermarket and fucking feeding it to them. But people won't do that because the premium dog food costs 8 times as much as this shitty mince. Like poor people's families are feeding this mince to their kids, and their kids are not going to die at 11.
Right. Our dog is 10 months old now, and we get some organic shit. It's expensive, but it's basically just meat and vegetables in a dry. What's that?
It's a lot of perfume in to trick your dog into eating it. Just feed your dog what you would eat. Like why? Like it's cheaper. Just boil some fucking vegetables, fry some cheap meat, and chuck it in its fucking bowl. It'll cost you less money, and it's going to be healthier. Why are you buying some weird fucking formula shit for loads? Anyway, so people like Vin feel guilty when their dog's not looking as nutritious and healthy as it should do. So instead of just cooking it some cheap but real food, which would cost fuck all, but you can even just throw some rice in for some extra carbs for as well, and you're really getting cheap. But instead of doing all of that, what they do is they spend an extra $50 a month on some powder to add to their dog food to fix the fact that the dog food that they're spending all that money on it's just insane. I mean, the amount of money Vin probably spends on dog food is what you could feed like a family of 7 on or something every month.
You're probably right, buddy.
Yeah.
You're probably right.
So you'd happily spend an extra 15 to just actually make it a little bit healthier, wouldn't you?
Yeah. I love my dog.
So yeah, I mean, it's easy money, this niche, and Vin's your target.
Yeah, we buy some organic.
He's your persona.
I'm looking up the ingredients now, but carry on.
Anyway, so Steve, you got this thing from Twitter about filtering. Did you want to talk about how you can filter stuff on Twitter, or were you filtering something on specific replies?
Oh, okay. No. What this is this is just a cool thing. Twitter now lets you filter by date. So that particular link, whatever you click, that's your...
So yeah, I got on that day from my people.
Yeah. And it's kind of... it was an interesting snapshot of how different Twitter was with your followers back then and now.
Oh, yeah, because, when I clicked it, I got our buddy Will Reynolds showing up. And at the time... So his comment about something is interesting, and I wasn't sure exactly when I opened it whether or not you had pointed this out.
Oh, okay.
And then I read, in the blue bar, it's filtered. So I'm like, oh, this is filtered to whoever I'm following, and Will is yeah, whatever. I mean, it's public. I'll just say it. It's like, damn, Jot Susan. I don't know who that is. Was supposed to be sushi now, and I'm in trouble with the girl. Smiley face. Voice recognition getting me in the doghouse. It's just kind of funny. It's whatever. But then the next one is.
I don't know if I can say what I would.
Then the next one is Susan ? Champagne spelled incorrectly, and margaritas spelled incorrectly in the city. What a day.
Well, if you've had champagne and margaritas in the city, I don't blame you for not being able to spell either.
Yeah, these are spelled the way someone would spell them that can't spell.
I'm not going to say what I've said to Garrett privately before about Will Reynolds. I think it's best not to. Just around the lady situation he refers to there. There's a lot of his tweets. Follow Will Reynolds' tweets right back to the beginning, and go down the rabbit hole. Have some fun. His discretion is questionable, but he's a smart guy. I like his work in the industry for the most part, but some of his tweets are pretty funny.
Well, it has to make you wonder what his content's like when can't spell.
Well, I imagine he's rich enough to pay someone else to write his content.
Yeah. How does it write?
There's a word agent behind every CEO.
Even I can spell shit. Anyways,
I can only wish.
I don't know. Like, how many champagnes do we think we'd have to make Garrett drink before he couldn't spell champagne anymore?
Half of one.
Half of one champagne. Mine was just like really random shit. Like, just saw the wind blow a girl's letter back into her face at Chuck E. Cheese. Freaking insane. About to go on a picnic. That's why I shared it, just because it was like all these people who tweet like nothing but like serious marketing shit now. Yeah. Back in 2008, they were like about to go on a picnic. Like Twitter was like so different back then. That's why I shared that link. But Garrett somehow has revealed some SEO lulls. So
yeah, like
it's yours reveal when you click that link.
Me?
Yeah, click the
filter. Hang on. I got some old school.
If there's someone from SEO in there, you have to out them for what they tweeted in 2008.
What is the minimum profit margin for you to continue to effectively promote your PPC campaigns? I personally aim for 50%. Husky Rescue on iPod. Too much whiskey to answer any more Moz Q&A. Night all.
Well, they're not allowed to drink on Moz Q&A now. They have to only drink the juice of social justice.
What does intoxicated by vanilla bike lust mean?
I don't know. I feel like that's a Moz question.
At ER, pretty quiet.
This is why Twitter like failed. Like it used to be good.
Getting ready to enjoy the long weekend.
You know, you had Will Reynolds tweeting at his mistress about how he got in trouble with his wife for spelling champagne wrong, and like now it's all like this fucking serious shit.
I don't know. He didn't get in trouble for spelling it wrong. I'm just saying he typed it out wrong.
No.
Oh, okay.
This is pretty entertaining.
I know what he got in trouble for.
Yeah.
Resisted the call of the chocolate martini. Sigh.
Chocolate martini.
I didn't even know that was a thing. Chocolate and gin sounds like a good combination.
I think it's chocolate and vodka.
That's not a martini. You have to say vodka martini if it's vodka.
I think
that's just peasant.
Well, over here, I think it's just a
reply to that tweet now.
Hello. Don't ask why. I'm looking at this 10 years later.
Chocolate martini ? Lowbrow .
Yeah, exactly.
All right.
Anyways, let's just finish off this news and get out of here. Stumble Upon used to be one.
Quick review, but we'll do that. And then.
Yeah,
we'll do that.
Stumble Upon used to be like one of my favorite things ever up until probably a couple of years ago. Just too busy to enjoy fun stuff on the internet. But Stumble Upon was a great thing to just stumble upon new shit. It was done fantastically well. It wasn't a nuisance to use with ads or anything, and great tool. And Steve shared this with us this week. I didn't know they were moving to Mix, and I checked out the new thing or whatever, and definitely not the same. It's not the Stumble Upon that I used to use and love. It's more like an RSS feed now, where they're aggregating stuff, but it's like I just like the whole idea of I'm looking at this. I want something random that's still in my interest categories, and I don't want that was just the beauty of Stumble Upon. I don't want to know what I'm looking at next, as long as it's something I may probably enjoy. Sometimes you get something you don't like, but it's like it's just totally ruined now. It's too much work for me.
Yeah,
I think YouTube is the new Stumbled Upon. Like you watch.
Not for me.
On
it just shows me all the same shit all the time, no matter what.
Well, it skips the next thing. Well, you need to train it more.
Yeah.
Well, apparently I watch too much of the same shit, because if I'm listening to music, it's always pretty much generally 90% of the time the same shit I listen to.
Oh yeah. I don't listen to music on there. I always just use Spotify. Like mine's all like I don't know, really weird, boring stuff.
I don't let YouTube track my search history. So.
Oh, can you turn that off?
Yeah, you can turn it off.
You can't even turn it off if you're not signed in. It still shows you recommendations.
Yeah. So basically, I'll start with like a seed search, and then I'll go deeper into the rabbit hole based on what pops up in the sidebar from.
If you don't like, if you make a search and you just hit play, watch the first video. The next video is usually it keeps.
Right.
Like I can waste a few hours on there. Like I'll search for some weird quantum mechanic. I don't understand anything about it yet. I've watched like almost 100 hours of quantum mechanics stuff, and the problem is these like experts don't seem to really understand it either. Like it just
everything is everything, nothing is nothing, and the balance is impossible to describe.
Shut up, Garrett.
Well, he's an engineer. He should know things about science.
No, I typically just use YouTube for guitar stuff when I want to play some guitar.
They usually go on a bit longer than Garrett though on their videos.
Yeah.
The short ones are 10 minutes. The long
From
ones-
what I get out of it, we're rapidly approaching a point where theoretically our consciousness is unable to comprehend what we're looking at.
I don't know. Like I think I because everyone says like Bell's experiments proved Einstein was wrong. I don't think they did, because I don't think that's what he was saying. I think Einstein will end up being right about that as well.
That's the thing. Even if Einstein's right, all of a sudden we don't.
Only
We don't have the intuitiveness to move on. We're just like.
Well, we
stuck,
need another Einstein.
I guess.
They don't come along very often.
Who knows? It's a great filter. We either get through it or we all die.
Maybe AI will solve it all. I mean, those chatbots are really making some good progress, right?
Yeah.
Go on then, do your review.
Anyway, so what's this traffic?
No, I'll do the review next week.
No, just do it. It'll only take you 2 seconds now. I'll just get it done.
All right. Well, as I'm waiting for my current new site to start ranking for its keywords, it's in a really good niche for sharing pins on Pinterest. So I didn't know much about Pinterest, so I went out to learn about it and basically just create a operating procedure for us to use internally. And I stumbled upon, no pun intended, this course called Pinterest Traffic Avalanche. And by coincidence, it was actually created by one of our clients. And all it is, it's a very, very, very detailed course on how to use Pinterest to drive traffic to your website and convert that traffic into money. So I went through it this week, and I pulled out the tidbits that were useful to me. But it's really from the ground up. If you're interested in using Pinterest to support your business in the form of targeted traffic, this is great. It's like $200, and it'll get you going, and you'll be, I'd say, within 2 months of following whatever this is shared in this course here, you're going to have a very nice secondary traffic source compared to normal SEO from Google.
Cool. Yeah, that's
Yeah, we
something
spoke about
we're
that,
starting on our internal sites finally is stuff
Yeah.
like this.
Well, you know what? I think it's very dependent on the niche that you're in. I mean,
Right.
if you're in finance, you're going to do jack shit.
Yeah. Well, for our skincare sites,
skincare,
that's going to be the big one.
even the candles,
Well, we
Yeah.
spoke last week about our coffee site that we started and I got bored with, so we never did anything with it. Like, we still get visits from Pinterest, like, endlessly. Like, 12 a day, years later.
Yeah.
We haven't touched that site. Like, we didn't even do that much on Pinterest. We only got to tens of thousands of followers or whatever, or connections or whatever they call it on Pinterest. Like, Pinterest is very evergreen. The traffic keeps coming from your pins. It's like,
Yeah, and things can go viral very easily in Pinterest. And I know in my scenario, we have 2 main competitors, and the main one has about 500,000 followers on Pinterest, and they're not even doing anything. Like their Pinterest board is very, very poor. So coming in and doing it the right way, I'm very confident that we're going to be able to pull
knock it out the park, yeah.
another 10,000, 20,000 visits a month straight from Pinterest. And in the course, they actually provide a lot of demographic information and sales information. It's like 60% of...
How much was the course?
It was $197.
Okay, yeah, so pretty affordable, yeah.
Yeah. they say that about 60% of Pinterest users are shoppers. So 60% of your follower base on Pinterest might have their credit card out and they're ready to buy something.
Yeah, I read that a while ago, like a bunch of studies about people using Pinterest, like when they bought a new home and they're like, oh, I need a table for this space, and they're looking for certain types of table and stuff.
Yeah.
Pinterest was giving them more of the kind of results they were looking for than like Google image search and stuff like that. So
what was
they're on Pinterest looking for it, and then they can get straight to the shop that made that particular, custom table, and it's a lot of high value purchases are driven by Pinterest. Like if you're just looking for a cheap table, you already go to IKEA or whatever.
Yeah, and another.
And there's no margin. There's no margin in selling an IKEA table. You can't be an affiliate for IKEA. But if you're selling something where it's $2,000, $4,000,
right,
there's plenty of margin there for you to make it good.
So I mean, something that really opened my eyes was the comparison of conversion rates between Facebook and Pinterest, and Pinterest was exponentially higher compared to Facebook, and that goes for Facebook's paid advertising also.
It makes sense if you think about what people use Pinterest for, because people are on Facebook to see shit from people they're connected to.
Right.
And then they also see ads. So the ads are like banner ads. I mean, when was the last time you saw an ad on like LinkedIn, for example? Like there's ads all the time, but you just scroll straight past it. You're immediately blind to it because it's some professionally made picture, some fucking bullshit, and you skim past who you're connected to that put that kind of shit out for free as well if they happen to get in your feed. Like you're looking for people actually sharing some words, not bullshit commercial content. But when you're on Pinterest, you've searched for table.
Right.
You want to buy a table, or you're just some weirdo that likes looking at pictures of tables.
Yeah, I mean, Pinterest, you're generally looking for inspiration, and I think that if something strikes your fancy, there's a very good chance that you might go ahead and buy
if it's
that.
in price range, you just fucking buy. Like my girlfriend has to drag me out of like art galleries all the time because we don't need fancy art in our house, but I really like some of it, and she's like, "No, you're not buying that. That's fucking retarded. Get out." But Pinterest is like, if I was looking on Pinterest, I just accidentally click the buy button and it returns.
Yeah.
So I won't let myself do that. But like when you're in an environment like an art gallery, and you don't go in like, oh, I'm definitely going to spend $5,000 on some stupid thing I don't need, but you want something for your lounge, or you want something for your bedroom, or and you're going in just to look.
Right.
So you tell yourself when you go into Pinterest or you go into an art gallery. But then when you see the one you like, the price is less important suddenly. Because you haven't gone in with a price, you've gone in with this thing to solve. And I think it's a much more relaxed buying frame of mind that makes you more likely to spend on a premium item. So I think premium vendors who aren't capitalizing on Pinterest are missing out massively because.
And from the marketing standpoint, through the course, I learned a lot. There's these. Essentially, what there's these private groups where everybody in the same vertical get together and they share or repin each other's posts. So it becomes this echo chamber of everybody sharing everybody and everybody supporting each other, because it doesn't really matter because you're all going to get the same reach. That it doesn't throttle your reach in the same way that Facebook does. And people are just pulling these massive traffic numbers from Pinterest, where it's almost, depending on the size of your vertical, you're almost getting the same amount of traffic you would from Google itself. So we're going to try it, test it out for our site that is very good for Pinterest over the next 6 months, and hopefully we'll have a diversified traffic stream here.
Yeah.
Cool.
Let me know your strategies so I can steal it.
I'll give you my operating procedure once I get it written this weekend.
Okay, cool. All right, well, I think that's all we got.
Yeah, that's everything.
Long show this week.
Good conversation, though.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, guys.
I guess, yeah, June 22nd is Minnesota Search Summit. Vin and I will be there, and
Yeah.
so will a lot of other cool people, so you could make it.
Search leads on the. Let me get the date right before I give you the wrong date. Yes, you want to head on the 13th for the pre-party. 14th is the main event. Stay the 14th as well because there's a party at the end. Head home on the 15th. So Wednesday the 13th, search leads. Second biggest event, I think, in the UK. One of the biggest in Europe.
Nice, man. Yeah, I actually won't be.
Vince coming over.
I won't be. I think it's the 14th. That's a Thursday. I won't be around for that show. It's my wife's birthday. But then the following week
well,
we're
we'll
headed
cancel.
to.
Yeah, we'll cancel the 14th then because I'll be at Search Leads.
Yeah.
It's like you don't want me and Dave on the show like after the amount we're planning to drink that day.
Sounds like fun. And then October.
Do you guys want to do a show on the 21st? I mean, I think I'll be downtown with my laptop. Me and Ben can do it off my laptop or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, let's play that one by ear. What's that?
21st of June.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's when Vin gets in, and then the Minnesota Search Conference is the next morning, so I'm just going to get a hotel downtown, too.
Oh, yeah, I mean, if there isn't a pre-party, then let's just do the show. If you guys are out with people.
I don't think there's anything. It's just...
This is not like barely even a conference. It's kind of like a 3-hour meeting at like a.
Yeah, so we should be back on the 21st then after that. So.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. But all right, yeah, see you next week for sure, and
see you next week.
Keep your stick off the ice.